Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever held a piece of paper and wondered just for a second how it got here? It's something we use every single day for notes, for books, for packaging, for art. But its creation is a fascinating blend of nature and heavy-duty engineering. Today, we're going on an incredible journey to uncover the hidden process of how paper is made, from a towering tree to the crisp sheet in your hands. So, grab your notebook and let's dive in. First things first, what is paper actually made from? While some specialty papers might use materials like cotton, bamboo, or even recycled fabrics, the vast majority of the paper we use every day starts its life as a tree. Specifically, it comes from two main types: softwood trees like pine and spruce, and hardwood trees like eucalyptus and oak. These aren't just any trees though. They are typically grown in sustainably managed forests. This is a crucial point. These are working forests where for every tree that is harvested, several more are planted in its place. It's a continuous cycle designed to ensure a healthy supply of wood for generations to come, while also maintaining forest ecosystems. The journey officially begins with the logs. Once the trees are harvested, they are transported to a processing facility where they are debarked, meaning all the bark is stripped off. This is important because the bark contains very little usable fiber and can introduce impurities into the paper. After being debarked and often washed, these clean logs are sent to a facility called a pulp mill, and this is where the real transformation begins. It's time to turn solid wood into something entirely new. Inside the pulp mill, those massive clean logs are fed into a machine called a chipper. This powerful machine does exactly what its name suggests. It chips the logs into small uniform pieces, usually about the size of a coin. If you've ever used wood chips for your garden or smoker, that's pretty much what they look like at this stage. Now, these wood chips are the primary ingredient for our paper, but we can't just press them together. We need to break them down even further to get to the good stuff, the wood fibers. To do this, the chips are loaded into a giant pressure cooker called a digester. This thing is enormous, often several stories tall. Inside, the chips are cooked at high temperature and pressure in a chemical solution. This process is called chemical pulping, and its main job is to break down a natural glue-like substance in the wood called lignin. Lignin is what gives wood its rigidity and strength, but it's not great for making paper because it's dark and becomes brittle over time. After several hours of cooking, the lignin is dissolved and the wood fibers are separated. What's left after this cooking and washing is a mushy, watery substance known as wood pulp. Think of it as the fundamental raw ingredient of paper. At this point, the pulp is a dark brownish color because of the remaining traces of lignin and other natural compounds. If we were to make paper from this, we'd get a rough, brown paper, very similar to the kind used for cardboard boxes or paper grocery bags. That's perfectly fine for some applications. But to make the smooth white paper we use for printing and writing, the pulp needs to undergo a few more steps. The next stage is washing and screening, where the pulp is rinsed multiple times to remove the dissolved lignin and any other impurities, like dirt or uncooked wood chips. This is a critical quality control step. Following that, to achieve that classic bright white look, the pulp has to be bleached. Modern bleaching is a multi-stage process that uses chemicals to whiten the fibers without significantly weakening them. This is a carefully controlled and optimized process to ensure both the brightness of the final paper and the integrity of the fibers. Once bleached and cleaned, the pulp is ready for the main event. This clean, bright pulp then travels to the paper machine. And trust me, this is the most spectacular part of the entire process. Paper machines are gigantic. often stretching the length of a football field. And they run at incredible speeds. The pulp that enters the machine is extremely diluted at this point, consisting of about 99.5% water and only 0.5% fiber. This watery slurry is sprayed evenly onto a massive, fast-moving wire mesh screen. This part of the machine is often called the wet end. As this screen moves forward, it vibrates and shakes gently. This action helps the fibers interlock and mat together, while also allowing a huge amount of water to drain away through the mesh. In just a few seconds, as if by magic, a very fragile wet sheet of paper starts to form. This is the precise moment paper is born. It's still incredibly delicate, like a wet tissue, but the foundation has been laid. But our paper is still soaking wet and has no strength. The next step is all about removing that remaining water and compacting the fibers. The newly formed sheet, which is still on a supportive felt blanket, moves off the wire mesh and into the press section. Here, it travels through a series of giant, heavy rollers that squeeze an enormous amount of water out of it, much like wringing out a wet towel. This pressing action not only removes water, but also compacts the fibers closer together, which starts to give the paper its strength and smoothness. After the press section, the paper sheet is strong enough to support its own weight, but it's still damp. So, it snakes its way into the drier section. This is the longest part of the paper machine, consisting of dozens of steam-heated cast iron cylinders. The paper weaves over and under these hot rollers, and the remaining moisture is evaporated away. The combination of immense pressure from the press section and the intense heat from the drier section is what transforms that wobbly mat of fibers into a strong, smooth, continuous roll of paper. It's a high-speed, high-temperature dance of perfect engineering. Finally, after being pressed and dried, the paper is almost complete. To give it its specific feel and function, it often goes through a final process called calendaring. Here, the paper sheet is passed between stacks of hard polished rollers that apply pressure to smooth its surface. This process determines the paper's final gloss and thickness. For example, paper destined for a glossy magazine will be highly calendared, while standard printer paper will receive less treatment to maintain a slightly more absorbent surface. Some papers also get a surface coating at this stage to improve their printability or brightness. At the very end of this massive production line, the giant continuous sheet of paper is wound onto a jumbo reel. And when I say jumbo, I mean it. These reels can be several meters wide and can weigh as much as several cars. And that's it. From a tree in a sustainably managed forest to a gigantic roll of paper taller than a person. But the journey isn't quite over. This jumbo reel is then moved to another area for finishing, where it's cut down into smaller, more manageable rolls or sheets. These are then packaged and shipped out to become the books we read, the newspapers we browse, the packaging that protects our goods, and the notebooks that fill our world. It's a process of incredible scale, speed, and precision. So the next time you pick up a piece of paper, whether you're writing a note, reading a book, or unwrapping a gift, take a moment to remember the incredible journey it's been on. It's a perfect example of human ingenuity, working hand in hand with natural resources to create something we rely on every single day. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of papermaking, please give this video a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for more fascinating looks at how the everyday stuff around us is made. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What other how it's made processes would you like to see next? Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.